Howdy, Cameron. Caleb here. Thanks for reaching out about a review for your landing page. Let's go ahead and jump right into it and see what's going on. So the first thing I noticed, so coming to GrowthArchive.xyz, the first thing I'll say is I really like this type of content where I can go to a place that is curated and has really deep informational write-ups about uh, product and marketing and everything to do with our industry. So kudos on that. And I read through some of them, and I like what you're working on a lot. So, but what we're talking about is landing pages and how to better your product. So, for your case, there's different types of landing pages, traditional landing sales pages, which probably don't have navigations. A landing page, we might call that a home page, or a single product page. So, what you have going on, after I hopped around a little bit and dug around, is you have Growth Archive. So let's think of that as your brand. And then you have different uh, content offerings inside of that. So one of those is what you offer here immediately is these types of write-ups about products, case studies, and interviews for different types of content. And so that's like your primary forefront offering. Now you also have a newsletter, and then it took me a while to kind of piece all this together. You have content repurposing and 101 marketing strategies. So after digging and thinking about it and looking around a bit, I kind of got a better idea, a better sense of the organization. So I think that's something that needs to be worked on and cleared up. So you have GrowthArchive.xyz is your parent brand. You have the content that you're presenting to site visitors. But then you also have product that you are selling, content repurposing, and 101 marketing strategies. And then you also have a newsletter. And so everything just feels a little disjointed. And so that's what you really need to work on, is how you organize and present each of these in relation to the others. So let me hop back over here for a moment. So Growth Archive, okay, that's the email or the newsletter. B2B content repurposing. What do I get? Your recordings are a content jackpot. Okay, so this is walk away with. Okay, so you're selling this. And then the same thing for 101 marketing. Right. Okay. So let's see, 40% off. What's the price though? Walk away with how? I don't see that right away. So I think that's probably the most confusing part that needs a lot of work, is how you're presenting these things. So for one, when it comes to something like a product or an offering, like content repurposing, I mean, you call that B2B in one place, and then content repurposing in your navigation. One way to make that clear is to package it in a way. So you could call it a book, you could call it, or an ebook, or blueprint, method, course, action list, something like that. And it's already going to sound like it's a package that can be purchased, or you can get it by signing up or providing email or something. So 101 marketing strategies ebook, that's already better, because I already understand what that means. When they were up here, I just didn't get it. And also that one was in red. I wasn't sure what that meant. I didn't know if these were the 101 marketing strategies, and this was a highlight. So all that threw me off. So I'm probably not going to provide you all the answers, but I'm going to give you some things to think about. How you present these. And then, so, you're going to need to do some reorganization. So let's split this up a little bit. We got our header or navigation. We have this intro right here, and it's talking about what I assume is your email newsletter, but it's still not clear on that. And then you have your archive of things here. Okay. And we come down further, you can load more. Website guide. Right now, I would just say get rid of that because I don't get what it's for. It's telling you about these three things, which are up here, but it's coming after everything else. So I would just get rid of it just for clarity's sake. And then this is another CTA for your newsletter. And then we have some footer stuff. So quick note on footer stuff. You got a lot of space here, and then you're cramping up your links right here. Like this needs to be on one line. This needs to be on one line. So give this up some breathing room so that they're not crunched up. Resources, home doesn't really count as that. Newsletter archive and share your story. I still wouldn't even really call those resources. Maybe newsletter, yes, but not that one. So think about how you group these and accelerate your growth. We could probably come back to that in a bit. Okay. So I also in this file I'm also dropping some competitive examples. So we got 4 right here. Marketing Examples by Harry Dry, Starter Story, Indie Hackers, shout out, and Trends.vc. So this is why you got to think about how you're going to organize your content and your offerings a little bit, because each of these, you can go check these out. Each of them does it a little bit different. So Marketing Examples, this is literally the first page, and it's all about these sample examples here that are listed out. Now there's also a way to sign up, which is here, but that's basically the gist of what he's offering here. I'm gonna be honest. While I love the work that Harry Dry puts up here, and I am subscribed to his newsletter and I read it every time, I really dislike the organization of this website. Let's go to it. Marketing Examples. So it's cluttered. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's ads, which is fine, but I scroll down. Oh, now it's adding more. Sometimes it seems like it adds more when I scroll. Sometimes it doesn't. I just find it really difficult to navigate and to find stuff that I'm looking for. Like, okay, so I can filter by certain things. I can't search, at least not that I can tell. Sponsor, copywriting examples. I mean, what is that? How is that different? Marketing examples, copywriting examples. So you can see a bit of the confusion that is all that I get from this place, and so I don't love it for that reason. Let's look at Indie Hackers. So I like this. What I like about this one, it's different than marketing examples, and probably what you're doing as well, because there's a large scope to Indie Hackers as far as the whole entire site. But then there's the products page, and so that's kind of what you're offering in a way. But what I really like about this is the abundance of filtering and sorting, and so I can really get granular. And then the 3-column approach to showing content, and it's very easy to read and digest titles, descriptions, metadata, and a logo. It's very easy to understand that compared to yours right now. So I think like this one, so Marketing Examples, it's pretty good. You can read the text, you can see a tag related, and there's an image related to it as well. And so that makes a lot of sense, and it's easy to read. What I have a hard time with Growth Archive right now is these cards. So the red outline is very strong. And so I would probably, if for cleaning up these cards, I would just get rid of that. I think you need some help on that end. So the text is mostly readable, but the tags are really difficult to read and understand what they mean. SAS, case study; agency, case study; content, case study. There's this little black box around these is very tight. It needs more padding. And then there's a fuzzy image. And I think the fuzzy image turns me off in that they're all fuzzed out and they're never in focus. So I think they really need to either focus the image once you hover it, or you need to do the opposite where they're in focus, and then when you hover it, they fuzz out. You want to keep the images simpler so that they're not as loud, and because right now they're all competing with each other. And one thing you'll notice on marketing examples, there's actually a dark overlay over the images, which sometimes we call that a scrim. So it's like black 20% opacity, and that helps with the readability and when you have images behind text. So I don't know if I can do this really quick or not. Let's cut it to here. Where's the image? The image is right on this. Okay. Background is color. I'm not going to change it right now, but I could add a pseudo element and put a black scrim over that. But that would help. So what I'd like to see here is, one, I'd like to see more detailed filters and search. Two, this search field doesn't really look like a search field to me, and so that I didn't even notice it for a while. And I think it's because it's a big rectangle box, and the text is bright white, which as an input field, you would think that it starts off as placeholder text. Hey, step out, please.
Once you get me a hammer,
so what I would probably do is, well, one, I want to break this sort filter out away from search because they don't actually relate to each other. Because you have search, sort, and filter. And then make this look more like a search field. So search fields, a lot of times they're larger, they have rounded corners, or they are pill shaped. So try that. Two, the placeholder text should be grayed out. So if you want to say search case studies, interviews, examples, or if you may not even need to say that, you just say search. Then put a label over the field and just make the text inside it search. Also, with these filters, the way that you have them right now, you don't have that many filter items. So I wouldn't even hide them behind, and something like that keeps happening every time I close it. I don't know when that happens, but it refreshes. If you have this few number of items, then you don't need to hide it behind a drop down or an expander. So if there's 3, definitely don't hide it. Because overall you don't have that many and they can scroll, I would just keep them all visible right now. If you get to an unwieldy number, then go the route of indie hackers where you have to expand stuff and collapse it. But right now, I don't think you need to. So, I'm mostly talking about this page, but you definitely need to work on the actual content pages as well. I think upgrading your design overall would be a huge boost. So better typography, better layout, expanding this large. Like it says, when I land on this page, where did I just come from? Launch tips versus actual launch. Okay, launch case study. I click on this. Okay, there's that little banner. It's super tiny. It says case study. It says launch. But where's that title that I just saw? Launch tips versus actual tips. So there's a disconnect there. And I want to be able to see. You need that signpost taking you from the archive page to this content page. The typography could be better. So I think there's a lot of improvement that can happen here. And that could be either you partner up with a designer that can help you custom design it, or you find a template or theme that fits your need. I'm not sure what your tech stack is here. Let's see if we can tell really quick. Where's the head? Oh, there it is. I don't know. Website files. Monto. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what your tech stack is. Interesting. So that's a few things to note. Let's hop over to this Figma file. So I added some notes around basically what I just talked about as reference for you to look at. Now, let's take a look back at these examples really quick. So marketing examples, we talked about that a good bit. I like starter story as well. It's kind of along the lines of what you're doing. I like that they have these deep case studies for the people and the products that they have built and how they got there. They have a really good set of filters. They have sort by. See how that's separated here from search. And then they have their content. Now, this is important right here. See this face? Humans. Humans means that it's real and there's a real person behind this. That would be a fantastic thing to add to your cards here. So however it's going to end up being laid out, you add the human avatar photo right there and make that part of it. That puts this in relation to this, and that's gonna improve the validity of it a lot. Let's go back over here really quick. Okay, so see, you can see how this is just organized a lot more. This is very strict and it follows a very structured setup. This one's a little bit more wild and quirky. This one's very strict. And then this, trends.vc, this is actually just a landing page for the front of the site, and you're not even into the content yet. I've read the content, I get the newsletter, but this is a really powerful newsletter CTA right here. So dive into new markets and ideas with this many like-minded founders. I mean, that's a crazy number. Now, you're not working with that number yet, I assume, but hopefully you are someday. But when you have this many people, that's kind of your validity and social proof. When you're starting out, there are other ways to hack that. Now, what he does have, so he has email address. It's clear that with free 5-minute reports on AI, crypto, and more, dive into new markets. So he's not actually saying newsletter or anything here, which is interesting. I would definitely say weekly newsletter or whatever it is. If you have a specific frequency, stick to that plan. But also make it clear, like, hey, this is a newsletter that I'm offering. So email, get started. Get started could probably be better, like start receiving or, get clued in. I don't know, something like that. This is always a nice little piece of social proof. And it doesn't really even matter whether you have 62,000 or 5 people. You just put some faces, and on the last one, yeah, after the last one, you could put plus subscribers. So you put like 5 faces plus subscribers or something like that. You don't have to reveal that number. Now, he does, even in his weekly newsletter or daily newsletter trends, every single one, it says, welcome to the 800 new subscribers, which is interesting. I always wondered, like, what happens if that's like 2, or does he fudge that, or I don't know. No judgment on that. But always go for accuracy and truthfulness. That's what I do say. So I think you need to decide what's your primary offering when they come to the site. Are you primarily pushing them to the newsletter sign up? Are you primarily pushing them to the growth examples? And then, so focus on that, and then package, add on your extra offerings, which are the money makers. When I, so I added this over here somewhere. Where'd it go? Did I delete my text? When I'm building a traditional landing page, this is kind of how I like to structure. But I don't think you're building a traditional landing page for what you're doing. So these are some of the items that I like to hit on. And you do need to, you need to cover each of these in some way, but it doesn't have to be on this, the actual domain apex. So I think yours is different, but keep this to the side and reference it, because you do want to hit on some of these other things. You can talk about use cases, like who is this best for? This is always handy, because when you have visitors on your site and they're reading stuff, that you want them to look at it and be like, oh, that's me. And so this might be like indie hackers, right? And so immediately, if people from indie hackers are on your site and they're scrolling down and it says use cases, indie hackers, boom. Solopreneurs, design developers, whatever it is, marketing gurus. Social proof is always important. So once you have testimonials, then you can say, like, this isn't just a site that nobody, some people go to, or nobody goes to, or there's nobody on my newsletter. You can have specific people, real people, that have said that they enjoy your content. Also, I noticed some of your content, now that I'm thinking about it, say quick interview. Man, that's where you really want this little person photo. Prove that this is a real human if this is a quick interview. And that's also interesting, because that's something that not a lot of other sites similar to this are doing. Starter Story does, but it's much more in depth. So it's like really deep and long interviews, sometimes with videos. FAQs are always good. Answer any questions. Think about your CTAs. Think about what people see when they first land on the site. So that's why, like, if this is at the top, I want it to be much more condensed. So tighten this up. This is a lot of text, way too much text. It should be 2 lines at most, but it should also be between the heading and the email CTA. So I would probably do something along this lines, something that looks more like that, and left align it, and then you'll still have room to put something over here if you want to. and then that way you can bring this section up quite a bit. But I would also make some distinguishing break between this hero section and this content section. It could just be a slightly different color, or a band or something like that. I think I've already commented on some design stuff and recommendations, but overall, that's one thing. I think it needs some more polish to look more professional, and provide good design is another validation point for people. Can I trust this resource and this person and this content that's being published? Is this a reputable site? And design plays into that. So that's a couple things to think about. See, this is different. Pricing and CTA for you is different because you have your free tier offering, you have paid content. That's how to think about this. Okay. All right. You got your content archive. Maybe we call that something else. What do we call that? Growth studies. What did I say? I thought I said something else. Okay, so you have content archive, free. You have your email newsletter, pay by offering your email address. Then you have product. Paid. And then you have your ebook or your other content offering, paid. So that's kind of how you can think about your offerings and the funnel for presenting these to people. So you want to get them in on the free content. They like it, so they sign up for your new email newsletter. Email, while people don't like to give away their emails, supposedly, they give them away a lot. And this is a really hot touch point. So once you're here, you're providing continued content to them and value. Well, then they're more likely to start looking at your paid content. So you'll end up having, you're sending out your email newsletter, which I don't know what it looks like at all right now. It says whatever it says, and then you start plugging. Well, if you want more, a different type of content, more content, videos, whatever that I've produced, then check out these paid resources. And so this is your funnel. So your free content is site visitors, email newsletters. That's going to be a subset of that. So let's say 100 people come in here for free. 5 sign up for the newsletter. You're probably going to have, actually that's a very low number. Let's say 10. So we're on 10%, and then one person pays for something. So you can kind of figure out what that customer funnel looks like. So I hope this helps you and at least put some thoughts in your head, get some ideas churning, gives you some direction. I know sometimes that's all I need myself. I have all the ideas. I'm doing what I can, but I just need a little bit of fuel on the fire, and that can come from someone else, and encouragement, and get me pushed to the next level. So I like what you're working on. I think you have a lot of potential with this, and I'll be keeping an eye out. I'd love to see what happens next. Bye.